Hello, everyone. Welcome to another HackerHaus live stream. My name is Eddie Miro. I'm the growth manager here, which means I'm the single guy that does all of the sales and marketing and social media and content creation for the company. But I really enjoy it. Just a few things I want to say here before we get started with our awesome guest. We are starting a CTF for Cybersecurity Awareness Month called Access Granted. It's based on an idea that Justin Mehrhoff had, and he was one of our previous guests on the stream, about doing a CTF that's based on accessibility features and technology. It starts in 2 hours, and the first challenge is already available. We're going to release a new challenge every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday throughout the entire month. And there are going to be some really cool prizes that will be announced throughout the month. So check out Access Granted and learn a little bit about accessibility. All right, now I have the pleasure of announcing our special guest. Some know him as Iceman. I have met this man before at St. Con, Christian Herrmann. And then we also are joined by HackerHaus member Nick, or Box Swapper. Before we jump in with our guest, Nick, do you want to introduce yourself and say a few things?
Oh yeah, I'm Nick Childs, aircraft mechanic gone hacker. Um, it's great to be working with this wonderful group of people. I'm getting to learn a lot here, and yeah, I'm excited to get this started. Here to see what kind of questions you got, my friend.
All right. And then, yeah, of course, our special guest, Christian, thank you for joining us. I know what time is it there? Like 6 p.m. at least, right?
Yeah, 24-hour system. Sorry about that. So 6 o'clock in the evening for me. Yes.
Well,
Happy to be
thanks
on board on
for.
your live stream, man. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I mean, it was really great. Like I said earlier, I met you at Saint Con last year. We both know El Cantaro, who, if I was smart, I would have given him the link so he could come in here and annoy you. Um, yeah. So
I,
yeah,
I
you
kind of
you came out
expected to
here.
do that.
I should have. Yeah. So Iceman came out
Let us
to
get
Saint
him
Con.
online. Hold on. We're gonna message that dude.
Send him the link. He can jump in and join whenever. But before we do that, I'll just give you a chance to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your history. I would imagine most people here know you and know your work, but well, I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I don't know. It's blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Well, let's say like this. I do RFID hacking, more or less every day. That's what I do. And people wondering who the bugger I am. Well, it's very tightly related to a software or a RFID hacking tool called the Proxmox Free, and it's an open source project. And I got involved there for more than a decade ago, and been doing a massive amount of contributions and been building on top of other previous work there, of course, and also starting up the community a little bit more and transitioning over to Discord, and then trying to do some talks at conferences. The SaintCon talk 2 years ago was nice. We're doing. They kept on inviting me, so we're doing the capture the flag at this year's SaintCon, and I can't apparently say no to things, so I'm actually doing a talk as well at this year. So it's things like that. I also have a YouTube channel, and yeah, more or less that's what I do. So I
So
hack RFID stuff. And people go like, "What is RFID?" Yeah, well, let me take a card from one of my collections back here. This is one of those typical RFID cards that you find out there. Access control system. This is a blank low frequency. You wouldn't tell that it's low frequency like that, but if I take a light and shine it through, can you see this big antenna there? Can you see the chip up there? That would indicate to me that it is a low frequency antenna and a low frequency. 125 kilohertz RFID tag, which this one is because I know it's a T5577. But this is commonly used in Utah, where you guys are from, for car washing and parkings and churches and something like that. And that's what I've been told last 2 years at SaneCon. And you can see by the number of turns of antenna that it is low frequency. The follow-up question is then, of course, how does a high frequency antenna look like? Yeah, well, let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can. Three. It's too thick. Yeah, let's see if I. This one can see this one. Yeah. Oh yeah, up there. You see this one. See, it's a little bit thinner. It's like smaller, but yeah, it goes around the edges. Yeah, so that's a high frequency antenna, less of a number of coils. And that's because when it comes to frequency, the longer the frequency or the wavelength of the frequency, the longer the coil, the shorter and the higher the frequency, the shorter the wavelength, and the lesser the coil is needed. It's also some kind of black magic when it comes to antenna design, but yeah, we'll skip that shit. So that's me. I'm Iceman.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been a huge fan for a long time. I'm a big person. I'm really into physical security. I have a Proxmark 3. I have the Flipper Zero. I have all the things. I love access control systems. If those of you who are watching this haven't seen Iceman's talk, definitely check it out. He goes through. How many different technologies did you go through in that video? Like, geez, at least like 30 or 40 different ones.
It's a mouthful.
How did you first get into?
Oh man, wow. That's a very good one. Let's see. I just invited El Pintaro, see if he wants to come. That's what I did. So sorry for me looking a little bit rude for question. Oh wow, wow. Yeah, it's not that fun. It's not that happy story. It is actually what people think. I went through a separation in life, so I'm a little bit older, and I had two kids and all that stuff. So we decided to separate, my partner and I. And I don't know if you've gone through a separation in your life, but for me it was like it was the lowest point of my life. So the only thing I remember short months of just near it was like everything is dark, everything is black. And I tried to, you have to figure yourself out again. You have to lift yourself up, and I tried to figure out what make me happy. So use like, I mean, I always love computers. I'm pretty sure that everyone listening here, even you, Eddie, and Nick, and all that, is very, very happy about computers and done that. I love computers as well. I mean, since I was 7, I've been, doing all computers, hacking them, and I self-taught myself like 10 programming languages. But I also made the mistake of making that joy to a work. So you start working with things and then you do it for money, right? So you take away all the small happy joy, and yes, it comes, work and everyday life. And so I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. It's like I need to do something, and I've been very non-selfish for my whole life. So I was like, maybe I should do something selfish. Maybe I should be a little bit naughty. Maybe I should buy myself a hacking tool, because that was like dangerous things. And it happens to be that in my country, on the other side of the country, a hacker group, a local hackerspace, were posting an article in the newspapers about how they were hacking the local transport system, tickets for them, and they mentioned a tool called Proxmark 3. And I thought I was kind of happy when I read the article, because that same system, the bus transport system, works in my hometown as well, and a couple of other places. It's called the Nordic Rese, NRT, I think it's called. and it Nordic Race company or something like that. And I was kind of worrying because if you take a reader and you go like, I will just demonstrate it with a Proxmox here. If you take a Proxmox like this is a little bit modified Proxmox, but anyway, if you take a card and that's it, that's the communication. Like, how does that work? It's you present a card and something happens, and what happens? It's like magic moonbeams. I think Adam Lawrence uses that word, and I think it's a great word because it's like magic. And you know the definition of magic, right? Any technology advanced enough is will be considered as magic for people who's not aware about it.
For
So,
sure.
so it's like this is like magic. What? How does it work? So I got this feeling of curiosity growing in myself, a seed of curiosity like that, which is very good for people to understand about what makes a hacker good. The first step is being curious.
Hmm.
Anyway, so when I go to AliExpress or Alibaba, when I you know type in, you all done that shit. That was the first time for me. And approximately free services, it's $300.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's, it's a lot of money for something you just working to. Like what am I gonna do this for? So it's like you buy it and then you know nothing happens because it takes a while.
Yeah. Firstly, I want to just thank you for being vulnerable. Yeah, that was I. I've never experienced that. I've experienced a lot of loss in my life, but a separation, especially with kids and all that, that sounds very tough. And so I appreciate you just opening up about that. And you know, yeah, that's tough. I feel like I asked you the worst questions because even earlier before we started streaming, I wanted to talk about politics, and then I brought up this horrible backstory. So no, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, as a hacker, I definitely appreciate that perspective and the curiosity that comes into how things work. I'm personally really interested in social engineering because human beings are fascinating to me, and just being able to understand how how and why I think the way that I do is one thing, but then you bring in other people too. Um, yeah.
That is an important part. So I don't feel any problem by being vulnerable and talk about my story because if it helps someone else in their story, I have no problem with telling my story. So no, don't worry about it. I think it's just part of. I usually tell people what you see is what you get. That's me. There's nothing else. I'm too old for that shit. I'm not 20 or a teenager anymore, right? It's just that.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and a lot of people have heard of me because I started telling my personal backstory, and you know, I
What
wrote a
happened with
book
you,
about
man?
it. Uh, my story is, I was kind of I'll give you the TLDR version. Um, uh, Basically, my parents, my dad was in a motorcycle gang, and my mom was a hippie, and I was kind of raised in this outlaw criminal family. And when I was a young adult and graduated high school, I kind of followed that same path for a few years. And you know I can't call myself an ex-criminal because that implies I was convicted of crimes and served time, but I I happened to live that lifestyle for a couple years. So that's why physical security is so interesting to me, because I've kind of seen it through the eyes of a threat actor because I was that guy.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
I'm friends with Phil Wiley, and at DEF CON a few years ago, he asked me if I ever thought about telling my story, and I never did because I was kind of ashamed of it. And I've been a federal contractor. I've had a public trust security clearance. I've been a teacher. I didn't want people to think I was a bad person just because of who I was as a very young man, and I kept it secret. Eventually, I started talking about it a little bit more. Um, yeah, I self-published a book. You can't even buy it anymore because all the people that were supporting me bought a copy of it, and I was just kind of felt good just getting it off my chest and being vulnerable. And occasionally I do talks, and The last one I did was at CypherCon, and if you see that on YouTube, that's probably the best version of that talk I've ever given. And it's nice when people come up afterwards and share their own stories and thank you for being honest and vulnerable, because they went through something similar, and it's really hard to go from being a kind of person that you're ashamed of to wanting to build trust and wanting to build a community and wanting to be respected in your career, but you feel like you have this hanging over your head. And it's hard because I didn't choose who my parents were or the life that I would grow up in. And I, through the process of telling my story and being open and going to therapy, and I'm really big into like mental health services. Yeah, I've really learned to kind of forgive myself and not I don't I don't blame myself for being the kind of person that you would expect someone to grow up to from that childhood, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. It's also a strength. It's a part of a healing process, as you say, to be able to talk about it. But, what do we say? The ghost disappears when you take them out in the daylight. But, you bring it up and you talk about your experiences, and I think that is beautiful of you to do that. It's very strong. And I remember you were doing a book because Alcantara and I was crashing into one of your podcasts or whatever you were with
Yes.
Beethoven first year.
I was doing the Danny Akaki. People know him as Rando. He's a DEF CON goon. He runs Whose Slide Is It Anyway? He used to do a live stream for one of the companies he used to work for, and I was a guest on there. And yeah, I did it at St. Con, and Iceman and El Cantaro came and bombed the interview. It was really funny.
It's because Alcantara knows everybody. That's why we do this stuff. I'm just hanging around because
He does. How does he know everyone?
Yeah, I keep on asking him that, and he gives me this. It's like, oh, I don't know.
Oh, and he pretends like he's not even part of cybersecurity
Yeah,
at all,
exactly.
and
I'm a
he's too
translator.
cool. Yeah. Okay.
That's a great.
Nick,
Sorry,
do
it's a
you have
side
any? Nick, do you have any questions for Iceman? I know that Iceman is a very adept social engineer, and he has turned this conversation and pointed the attention on me because he's very devious. But we need to pivot back and put the attention on him since he is our esteemed guest.
Well, if I'd have known he'd have been here, I'd have done some pre-research and I'd have some good questions. But this guy
Ask
got
him.
dropped in here, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, we'll do this."
See,
Um,
Iceman, are you working on Flipper Zero firmware?
that's actually a good question.
Fuck Alcantara. Oh. I blame the fucking Ricks and Alcantara for that one. It's one of those. Yeah. Let's say it's closed beta. So yeah.
That's one of my favorite devices to show people because it's something simple to use and just go, hey, this is what's going on. This is what you can do. And then I got the Wi-Fi hat too, so it's always fun to show people some of the Wi-Fi vulnerabilities instead of having to pull out the entire pineapple with the batteries, and all that. You've got this, and I think it's an amazing tool. I did think it was hilarious that it came out while I was deployed, and when I ordered it, it came to Qatar and got turned back in the mail, like it wasn't allowed to be delivered there. So I had to wait till I got back to the States to have it delivered to my house.
Oh man, I was doing part of a hardware hacking village in Black Hat, Middle East Africa, Mia in Riyadh, and every time we showcase a flipper, all the Arabs is like going nuts about it, right? So, oh, I can buy it. It's like, oh yeah, I can buy it from you. Nope. It's like you're not allowed to do anything. First of all, you're not allowed to do any. When you're part of a hardware village, strict regulations of what you can sell and not sell, but you're not allowed to sell anything. End of story. Black Hat, right? Two, it's kind of dodgy because it's like it's not allowed in Saudi Arabia. It's like, so we're having there as a demo kit. It's like, and we don't want to lose it in transportation. So it's like, maybe you can buy it in Dubai or Abu Dhabi and that stuff. But they really, really wanted it because they can't have it, and it's they just simple. What it does really, really good is that it brings hacking to common people.
Totally.
The entry to exploit is so low
and that makes it really scary because it comes in hands of people who do not have any moral character or judgment or whatever, and think it's just for lulz. Uh, which reminds me about a story 3-4 years ago when I was at B-Size Copenhagen, and one of the guys there is like, "Oh yeah, I have a flippers out." "Oh, okay, cool. So I was testing it out on my new BMW." That doesn't sound good. It's like, yeah, so I could unlock the doors. That was great. I showed my wife, and it's like I did it on her car, and then her keys didn't work anymore. It's like, mm-hmm. So I took it back to the dealership. It was a brand new car. It's like, yeah. And it turned out he has to swap out the ECU unit, whatever it was. It was $6,000 to do that. And I was like, well, there you go. Don't run things you don't understand.
That's like Hacker 101. But yeah, like you said, it's such a cool tool, and if you put the right firmware on there, and it has everything just like single click, and you can install apps. You have an app now that you can use to install whatever modules you want, and yeah, it makes it very, very accessible.
I'm going to
So
go to the
if you're
website.
into Flipper and if you're into PAX, physical access control, then this is that one you need to have as well. So this is the Nard add-on,
Yeah, I
which you
have that
put
the SAM board. Yeah.
SAM board, or you put a SAM HID genuine SAM on this one, and then you use the Sealer apps, and then you can do downgraded attacks and read off all the COs and DESFI cards, right? Just like that. Boop. It's nasty simple, and yeah, and it also just uses legal stuff, so that's even better. It's very bizarre in that sense. Yeah, but that's tools of a trade. So, like I say, everybody else, it's like you have to understand what the tools of a trade does. The flipper is made by a Russian company, and you have to understand that. It's the same thing with. Hold on. Stop looking in my box of things. Here! Otherwise, it's cloner time, right? So this is the blue gun cloner. This one clones and reads low frequency calls, whoop, like that. And this is a model that can do HF and low frequency, high frequency and low frequency. And when we stand alone like this, well, it's not a problem, right? But nowadays, it's like to protect the DRMs or to add the own DRM or cloner DRMs, they make them cloud-based. So we add an add to it, app to it, so you can do that, or you connect to a web page or custom software. And then, like I always tell people when do things, if you do a team and assignment stuff like, yes, we're going to use these tools. Great. Have you verified that we do not send my client's data up to the Chinese service? And people go like, oh yeah, we might think about that. Because people are so into like, oh yeah, we get 3 days of testing, and then we're just going to use everything we have. If it works, great, it works. But you really need to understand what individual tools that you have, how it works. That's something I want to stress as well. That's the second takeaway. Like you have to understand the tools. Learn the tools of the trade the hard way.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've seen some of those different tools coming out, and yeah, they're pretty awesome. You don't need to do any type of configuration or setup. You just pull it out of the box, and boom, you can go. But yeah, if that data is being stored, God knows where, then yeah, you could be in big trouble, especially if you're trying to do a pen test, and you know, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, most of them go like, oh, no, not a problem. Yeah, most of these tools are local. Then it's not an issue. But as soon as it's an app, a phone app, or a cloud service, it's not the same thing anymore.
Nick, earlier you were going to say something, but I think you got cut off. Did you have a comment about the flipper?
Oh no, it's just about just throwing about how amazing it is. The people that have put together the tools that you can easily install on it. I even found it amazing that so Deviant Olin gave a talk a long time ago about keys, like getting a photograph of a key and being able to decipher it to cut later.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like even on the flipper, there's a thing with lines on it that tells you numbers. So you can take a key, put it on there, and go, okay,
The
that's what the
bidding
number.
sequence.
Yeah, the sequence. Thank you. I didn't remember what it was called. I just remember the talk and how it was all put together. It's very interesting. Yeah,
Good
there's
point.
all sorts of amazing tools that people have been putting on it, just from their own different things that they've experienced, or all different sectors of just hacking different things. It's all on there. It's pretty wild.
I mean, to talk about the Proxmark a little bit more, I really like when people take long range readers and like the what was it called, the Tastic,
Yeah,
the guy
RFID
from
tastic.
Bishop
Yeah.
Fox that made it's like a 6 foot like range just by taking one of those long range readers and basically hooking it into your Proxmark as the antenna, right?
Hold on, hold on. I'm just gonna. Here you go. I just happen to have one here. So this is one of those long range readers. For you, it's going to do the CTF this time in SaintCon. Well, this might be part of it. This is an in-dollar long range, and this is an in-dollar card, so you can really, tighten up. And as you see behind here is the thing that we connected with Door Simulator. So instead of being RFID tastic, we would be more or less the same thing. You hook up to these connectors here, but you would put it inside of this, so you make it a standalone gear. You would add a battery to it, some boost converters to take it up to 12 volts and 24 volts. And then you would have this ESP key that collects the data, and you would have it like in a Wi-Fi access point on that. And then you would use your just phone to connect to that access point, and then you would just surf into the page, and you can look at the credentials. You can replay it. You can make this one repeat it or something. You stick this one in a big box in your backpack, and you will go collect credentials.
Yeah, that's awesome. It always makes me think of the scene from Mr. Robot where he's got it in a backpack, right? And he like slides up against him. It's like, okay, you don't need to do all that because it's a long range reader. Like, why are you? And I get it, it's a TV show and it wants to be dramatic. Okay, so I actually want to ask like a question that will hopefully be, something that our viewers have thought about. And as a company, we kind of focus on high risk SMB customers, and you know, obviously one of the big problems with access control is using unencrypted protocols, the Wiegand protocol, and the reason why a lot of these attacks are possible is because of that. What are some good recommendations for companies to start when it comes to looking at upping their access control security?
Upgrade the firmwares. Yes. Do you know how few times people actually patch with microcontrollers and stuff like that? It's a shame. And then when you look at things, people always think of it as James Bondish 007 gadgets, right? Doom, 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 doom. Mr. Robot sniff and take a card and then boom. Yeah, I get it, Con. I get it. I get it. It's impressive for customers, right? At the end of the day, it's like getting entries. Like you never, very rarely need to do that. When I talk to pen testers and red teamers, that they do.
For sure.
So what I do is that I make the tools that you guys use, right? So in RFID hacking, I do research on how to hack things and see if it's good enough. So the output from that is what comes into open source community, and then what spreads on everywhere, right? That's what I talk about. That's what I do, and that's what I love doing. And I'm the man who makes the shuffle in Klondikes, right? I don't go and do it in the field. So yeah, people are always wondering how much field work I do. I was like, I don't have to. I sit here.
I mean, as somebody who it, I prefer to focus on human centric vulnerabilities. I prefer to focus on social engineering and physical security. And I appreciate people like you who build the technology. That way I don't have to learn to do that. I'm not a programmer. I know enough Python to write a basic script. That's it. I do a lot of vibe coding, so I don't want to learn to do all that type of stuff. And so yeah, I appreciate that the tools exist for me to do that. And also just a point that you made earlier, yeah, you know, not only are people who are doing, you know, covert entry or black teaming, that's a pretty rare thing to be doing. And like you said, you're kind of way down on the list by the time you start pulling out some of these like gadgets, right? Even, you know, Nick, you mentioned Deviant earlier and his talk about covert entry. You know, by the time he's single pin picking a lock, he that's like ninth on the list of things that he would use. And the first thing would just be like a physical bypass, you know. And yeah, if I'm going to do covert entry, I'm probably just going to piggyback or tailgate, or, you know, I'm going to get in without even having to use any gadgets or technology for sure.
Surveillance, I think, would be the first steps, right? To examine the target of a premises, what you're going to do, and observe patterns of what happening, of how people patrol or walk and guard and for these high security things. So yeah, it's kind of it's very awesome to hear these people. You know, it's the dopamine kicks that those people get out of it is amazing. And the war stories they tell, it's like, holy moly, it's like James Bond, of course. So it's really nice. One of the things that I do, like you do, it's like when people come up to you after a talk and they, you know, share their little stories, is that I encourage people to contact me, so don't think that I'm kind of special in that way. I'm very reachable in that sense, but I also very curious in listening to people's war stories. You know, tell me your best war story, and I think it's such an opener for conversation because all of a sudden they can talk about what they love to do, and I get a good story.
I love that, and I'm friends with a lot of really cool people, and that is a common thing that I hear is I'm down to earth and I'm someone that's approachable. And if you need help or just want to talk to me, reach out. And yeah, that's one of the reasons, you know, we met over a year ago and have maintained a friendship since then. But when I started doing this live stream here for HackerHaus, I was like, got to reach out to Iceman. And you immediately said, absolutely, like no hesitation. So yeah, you're a pretty awesome guy. And I think for a lot of people who are new to the field or trying to break into cybersecurity, they follow a lot of influencers or people that they look up to and don't realize that you can send us a message and most of us will go out of our way to help you because we're really passionate about cybersecurity.
Well, nowadays it's a little bit different because when we were a little bit younger, OGs were not that friendly.
Yeah, when I first got into the hacking community, I joined a DEF CON group almost 10 years ago. So I haven't been in as long as many, but I've been in for a while. And yeah, the DEF CON group I joined, they were kind of old school. So I had to keep showing up for a few months before people would start talking to me and, you know, realize I wasn't going anywhere. Nowadays, it's not like that. I run a group here in Utah County called the Utah County Hackers, and there we have DC 801 up in Salt Lake City. We go out of our way to be open and, you know, welcoming to new people. We loved growing the community, and yeah, it's not like the old days. And I've been in the IT field since 2001, and I remember some of those people way back in the day. It was very tough. These days, people are much nicer.
The gatekeeping, the attitudes, yeah, and yeah, I think it's a healthy way to communicate. When we're talking about building a community, be a part of a community, I think if you as a newbie coming to DEF CON, to the madhouse of Vegas, the first time I'm going to spend that amount of money, you know, buying a DEF CON ticket and then going into it, I, it's like my tip for them is like, yeah, you're going to be very exhaust from all the events that are happening, and you don't feel that you're going to belong anywhere. So I usually tell them, go and invest yourself or in one village and say, hey, can I volunteer can be a part of this one here? And they usually go like, yay, great, awesome, we like volunteers. And that's a perfect way to meet people and just, to get into it, get into reps, they introduce you to people, they talk about things, and that makes a tremendous difference. So that was happening to me because I was never into this to this conferences and stuff like that. When people asked me about what I was doing, I said I'm in this room, I'm sitting in this room and doing my stuff for myself, for fun of it. But when I started to go to DEF CON the first time, I was invited by the Ricks at the RF Village, or by then I was in the Wireless Village. And they were like, yeah, can you come up? And I'm like, sure. So I got there, I was like knocking on the door, and you know how Wasabi is. It's like, who the fuck is knocking on the door? It's like, I'm knocking again, open up the fucking door, but I'm supposed to be here. It's like, what do you want? It's like, sorry. And I'm like, well, I'm supposed to be here. I don't know. And people are like, hey, are you Iceman? That's me. And from then on, it was so much easier because they know everybody. But I would never bought a ticket myself to DEF CON and try to learn the way because it's such a big conference.
Yeah.
Do you feel me when I say? Because SaneCon is great because it's smaller and everybody does hardware and it's not that much subcultures.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say, right?
I do. Yeah, for those who've never been to DEF CON, it's an overwhelming experience. It's literally impossible to see everything, and yeah, there will be like whole communities of people that you never interact with if you don't happen to go to a particular village or a particular area. Yeah, SaintCon is nice because it feels very professional and very modern, but it also still has a lot of the fun hacker stuff there. So it's kind of like a good happy medium. Another one, have you been to Wild West Hack and Fest?
No, I haven't. It's since I live in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Attending American conferences is a pain in the butt. Sorry to say that.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
It's expensive. Sorry.
You're
I
looking
love to
at
go to
thousands
them.
of dollars, yeah, minimum just to fly, and then you have like, it probably takes a whole day just to fly anywhere, right?
Oh God, yeah.
I live in the central or mountain time zone now, but I used to live in California and I never went to any conferences on the East Coast. I complained about having to fly 4 hours. So yeah, for sure. I hate traveling. So yeah, I thought, I don't
Speaking
know.
of the East Coast, the ShmooCon is dead now, right? So
They decided to
Hack
end it.
on the Hill or something like that? Is that what it's called?
I'm not sure. I went to. There are a lot of conferences that I need to get out to that only happen on the East Coast, and I just started going. I went to CypherCon this year for the first time, and that's in Milwaukee. That is actually, if I had like a top three conferences, it'd probably be SaintCon, Wild West Hack and Fest, and CypherCon. They all have that really tight community. It's, the people that live there are very passionate, and yeah. If you get a chance to go to any of those, for sure. And Nick is a big time Wild West Hack and Fest guy. Are you going this year, Nick?
I if I don't go, people come to my front door and drag me out of the house. So I I can on my porch, you can see the convention center where it is. Like you can see the hotel. It's right there.
You have no excuse.
Yeah, I have no excuse. But I did get tickets this year. It'll be next week. Really
Okay.
looking forward to it. Basically, all the friends come to town. Every now and then we do a porch con when enough people are not doing stuff. We just hang out on the porch, have a barbecue, and talk about stuff. We just call it porch con. And then, but yeah, it was the first conference I went to, and it just kind of pulled me into everything, and I absolutely loved it after that.
So what you're saying is I can park my travel trailer in your driveway, and
You can. I just have to move all the vehicles.
and Iceman and I we'll throw a party at your house.
Oh yeah, that's what it's here for. I tell everybody that. It's like, you guys can come over, or if you can't find your hotel or get to your hotel, I got a couch, I got an extra bedroom.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks for the invite, man. Where is it though?
It's in Deadwood, South Dakota.
South Dakota.
It's quite a commitment to get to. Actually, the closest airport is an hour from it.
Yeah, it's an hour. It's an hour 15 to get to the airport from here. So they actually have a bus go back and forth. So you go there. They have a little corner. There's a Black Hills Information Security corner with games and stuff like that, and people hanging out and coffee. And you go and hang out there for maybe an hour, 2 hours, and then a van will pick you up, and it just goes back and forth all day.
The cool thing about the journey you have to put in to get there is that everyone who goes to Wild West Hacking Fest really wants to be there and is really like committed to it. So it ends up being just a really high quality experience. And feels very, very St. Con-esque.
One of these days, I promise to go if I can. There's so many conferences.
There are, and I know you guys have a lot of really great ones out there in Europe too. And I have friends that kind of work in the evangelism space, and they're always traveling out there, and it seems really awesome. I want to respect your time, and we've been streaming here for a while. Is there anything that you want to talk about or promote that you have coming up, or share with community? I know you mentioned your Discord channel and your YouTube channel, and we'll provide all the links to that in the description afterwards. And we mentioned that you're going to be running CTF and a community, and also doing a talk at St. Con. What is your talk about? RFID hacking? As if I can talk shit. Every talk I do is about social engineering. So
yeah. The talk title is Jurassic RFID, and I promise you, if you guys who got there, you will have a good time and you will enjoy it. And that would be the only appearance of me in US for some time, because SmooCon is not going on. I will do a short, I think it will be remotely to an Australian conference in November, and then I would have loved to go to Japan, to Code Blue, and maybe Tokyo and TenguCon, but time and money can't do. That's how it works. And then there's some conferences in Europe, back at you. Then you have CCC, the Congress, but I'm not doing any of those. I promised myself this year that I'm not going to do anything, because it's been shitloads crazy busy with things. And I promised myself I'm not going to do any talks. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to take, slow. But apparently I have a problem saying no.
Same. Yeah.
So I keep on ending up doing talks, and people go like, "Do you want to do a talk with me?" I'm like, "Yes!" And all of a sudden I do talks again. That was not the purpose of things, but now I am. So, yeah.
You were just asking me before we started streaming, like, what have you been up to? Like, you see, I'm always constantly posting like different projects and different ideas and companies and things, and it's like I keep saying I'm gonna do less talks, I'm gonna do less, and then it's like, oh, but I want to submit to this, and I've already submitted to speak at 2 conferences coming up this year, and yeah, I love doing this kind of stuff. It's fun for me. So
I have a question for you though,
yes,
if I may ask.
Of course.
So you made a book. So I've been approached and asked several times now about, "Hey, Iceman, why don't you write a book?" And I'm like, I don't know about that, because I need to have a ghostwriter.
You would actually do very well as an author, because you are very famous, as it has been said. So
I don't know, you and me, I think you are the famous guy here. What are you talking
I
about?
doubt that. And I spoke to 2 different publishers who both told me I wasn't famous enough to become their clients. So I know for sure. But so writing a book is easy, actually. If you choose to self-publish, the hard part is just writing it and getting the content out. If you have a lot of content that you've already written down or already built already, then it can be easier. I hired an editor to do the editing for me. I hired a graphic designer to do the typesetting, which makes it look nice, and I got the ISBN number myself. And you can publish on Amazon KDP, like, as soon as you have the files that you need, you can upload them, and they'll print and sell for you. You make less money percentage wise, but Amazon also is the dominant force in the book selling community. So you don't have to go with other distributors, but you can. There's a company called Ingram Spark. They'll take your files and they'll publish it on any other platform, Barnes and Nobles and any other bookstores. Yeah, it's the hard part is just writing it and getting the content out. And my advice is not to try to edit it or make it make a lot of sense in the first rough draft. Just dump all of what you're thinking out. I used a tool called Otter, which is an for voice dictation. So I would, when I thought of something I wanted to write, I would just talk to my phone and it would transcribe it for me, and then I would take it and put it in. There's lots of tools, and we can go we can go offline and talk more specifically. But yeah, if you want, I can I can connect you with some people who, if you want to talk to a publisher, uh,
Isn't
that's
it the
really
one on
that's the
Defcon who
nice way to
usually
do it.
does it? Isn't that Stark Press or what's it
No
called?
starch, yeah,
Yeah, no starch. Yeah.
no starch. It would
Are they
be.
good or something like that? Because
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who have published through them, so yeah, I can find out some information about that. Wiley is another popular publisher. There are a couple of them, but yeah, you have a big audience, and you have a, people, you're well known, so I think it would be successful. It's hard to make a lot of money as an author. When I was selling my book, I only made 33 cents per copy, and that was my fault because I chose the highest quality paper and printing, and I wanted it to be nice, and I only charged $10 for it. If you did, are you thinking of doing a book that's like about your life or about technical things?
I don't know. That would be something about the RFID hacking world.
So you'd be able to
Right.
charge a lot more for your book, and you have to sell. So you have to sell a lot, and a good thing for you though, as a public speaker who goes to a lot of events, is that you can get author copies for very cheap, and then you take them with you to events, and then you sell them there, and you sign them, and you can make a pretty good amount of side money doing that. But
Hey,
Yeah,
Eddie, you're
well,
very convincing. I'm going to write the aerospace hacking book nobody has. Right?
we should start
there
a
you go.
publishing company. Come on. I need more projects.
I like this. This is good. This is
Yeah,
perfect.
I tell everyone, if you want to just be an author and say that you wrote a book, it's very easy to do. It's very easy to self-publish. I can tell you all the steps, and I've gone through it. And yeah, the hardest part is just writing it, and getting it all out. And then you go back after you have it all, and then you can fix it and change things around. And it's good if you can work with a publisher. That's nice because they help you with the editing, and they can help you see things that you don't see. Like my book is very short, and it could easily be 3 or 4 times longer. And had I had a publisher, they would have kind of helped me figure that out and helped push me along. And I they would have worried about all the things that I don't need to worry about, and helped me like in a creative way. But I just wanted to do it just to do it and to tell the story. And yeah,
So without those experiences of it and all that stuff, clearly you didn't do it for money. I mean, I can make a story about how my YouTube content has made me enormous amount of money of $20.
yeah, exactly.
This is like, so clearly doing YouTube videos and stuff like that is not doing it for the big cash greens, right? It's
Yeah,
it's,
and
it's
like
because I'm stupid.
no, I don't think so. We talked earlier before about content creators, and I think that it's good for some people to say, I'm not going to make clickbait, I'm not going to make rage bait, I'm not going to take the easy route, I'm not going to create short form content. Like, I'm going to do what I want, and I'm going to be creative, and just understanding that, like, you're going to have your audience, and some people will like it and some people won't. And if you made short form content or made bullshit content, some people would like it and some people wouldn't. And you might as well just do what you are passionate about and create the content that you want, and just be happy with the audience that you have and not care about attracting the audience that doesn't really align with the way you see content creation. That's my opinion. And people tell me, well, you should make shorts and you should do this and you should do a TikTok. And it's like, yeah, but I don't want to create that content. And I feel like the audience that appreciates what I do, like I have them, and I'm not going to be able to appeal to everyone. And I feel bad for content creators who do chase the algorithm. They do chase the audience. And you'll see these, not even specifically in cyber, but just in YouTube in general, you'll see content creators who do the same exact content every week because they're so scared of losing their audience that they don't actually create the content that they want to create. And I just think that's sad, in
They
my
get
opinion.
stuck in their own bubble of idea about themselves. So my question to you was the following: would you do it again? Will you make another book?
I have considered it. Every time I do my talk about my story, people tell me I should write a second edition and expand on the first one and tell a lot of stories that I forgot to put in or was afraid to put in. And my first book was just telling the story the way it happened and not trying to make any type of stance ethically or morally, or there was no call to action. There was no, I didn't tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do with their life. That wasn't the point. I was just wanted to tell my story. So I could definitely improve on it, but I don't know. Part of me doesn't really care because I feel like I sold like 50 copies and I feel like that's like the 50 people who really cared and wanted to know all that. I don't know if I want to. I don't know. I may do it. I've thought about it. I have a Notion document set up. If I ever decide I want to expand and do a second edition, I can do that. I'm still not sure if I want to or not.
Well, I'm getting a message from someone here who's watching the stream apparently. So I'm going to give a shout out to Pax the Get On to dudes or the hackers. You're fucking my heroes all over the place. You're actually quite good at stuff, and I just want to make sure the world knows about it.
Oh
And
yeah.
Iceman book, I don't know. Yeah, I'm bouncing the idea, but I need to say no sometimes. That's my problem.
Uh, Nick, do you have any closing comments or thoughts before we end the stream?
Oh, nothing really. It just seems that everybody goes into this type of field because it just helps them get through things, get through life because of the challenges, how difficult it is, and nothing comes simple. Like when it comes to hacking, so for me, aircraft mechanic doing the same thing was that type of stuff. And like I'm working with you, Eddie, because I had to get out of that slump. I had, after retiring and then getting laid off with an analytics company, um, I just kind of fell off, and I was like, God, I need to do something. And hacking has always been there for me. Like it's always something to do in the background, even if it's just building some of the devices myself, like soldering boards together and things like that,
Yeah.
the hardware, which I love. But I do find it very interesting that I'm not the only one that uses it as a way to move on, to emotionally be able to accept things and be able to create things and accept those challenges. So yeah, I think that we can get that from this.
I have a
In
question for you, then, Nick.
All right.
Yeah, okay. So airline or just aircraft hacking, right? Not for spacecraft. Which one is it? Is it
It
airlines
was
or is it
it was
space?
aircraft. Yeah.
Aircraft. Okay. So if you, I know a bunch of hackers who love to take a ride on and hack the shit out of aircrafts. If you ever have access to do one of those things, let me know and I will hook your brother up with some really amazing hackers who want to hack the shit out of
Oh
an
yeah,
aircraft.
I'd like to meet some of them. I just gave a talk. Well, the talk I gave was at DEF CON Aerospace. It was right after COVID, and I put it's aerospace. What was it called? Aircraft avionics primer for hackers, and it just teaches them how the network bus talks and all that stuff, and then probable vulnerabilities. And what's kind of nice is I got justified recently because it's not like I can buy this stuff and have a bench at home to test everything. I'm not a
Mm.
billionaire. I mean, the aircraft equipment is expensive, but there was a school that actually they released a paper and it follows step by step through my talk, and they actually found the exploits that I was talking about. So it was really cool to see that. A friend of mine in the aviation industry sent that to me. He's like, "Oh, check this out. It kind of follows your talk." And I'm like, "No, this is like literally my talk. This is terrific." So that also has kind of pushed me to go back into it, and I'm starting to do more research into aerospace again to see what else I can find.
Okay, so you don't work for a company now. It's just that you try to get into the
Oh, I don't
aviation
care
hacking.
about working for a company or not. I want to
He,
break
he's
shit.
he's retired. He's retired from the Air Force,
The
so
chaotic hacker, I love it.
Yeah, I'm
he's a
retired from
renegade.
the Air Force. Yeah, I have an income that's steady and I can live on it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not living like a rich person, but I've never, even when I was making more money, I tended to take 2/3 of my paycheck and invest it because I just don't know how to spend a lot of money. So I'm living on my retirement and I'm fine. And I'm just getting back into it for, like you said, the chaotic hacker. Just here to break shit.
Technically,
That's,
technically he's an intern here, so he
I
has to get
fucking
the
love that.
copy.
You have to be the
Um,
chaotic hackers. Those are the ones that are the most interesting in that sense. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but the curiosity of doing things and breaking shit and just figuring shit out is just amazing. And it's yeah, you guys are my heroes. That's what it is.
well, we all share the passion, and we've all talked about using hacking and our passions to heal ourselves after we've gone through a loss, or life has gotten hard. And it reminds me of in Zen Buddhism, there's a practice called Zazen, which means walking meditation. And anything can be a meditation, whether that's putting together a Lego set, or sweeping the floor, or doing the dishes, or soldering circuit boards, and or hacking code. um, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And anything can be Zazen, and I think for a lot of us, hacking is that for sure. Iceman, any final comments before we end the stream?
I do. You almost want to end the stream. No.
We could keep going as long as you want. I just want to respect your time.
No, it's okay. Let's go. Let's go. 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 No, the thing is with meditation. Have you done luck picking? Have you? I
Of course.
bought those picks, and it turns out it's really good for my mental state.
It's a
I just
hacker's
sit and
fidget
do it
toy,
for
block picking.
yeah. So you're sitting there, and it doesn't matter about never making it. I'm not going to pick lock whatever. It's just sitting there doing it. It's just really good for my mind. But what I wanted to say is that I have as a software developer, which is my background, is something what we call the zone. And being in the zone is the best place ever. It's the magical place where everything
Yeah.
is just perfect and your time disappears and you have just one with your thoughts and fingers and express all of those ideas that you have coming up. The zone is the best place to be. And if I don't know what they call it nowadays. It's like the
They
genres
call it
are
the flow
insane.
state now.
um, Vibe coding, whatever shit you do, I don't know. But the
Oh,
zone is
yeah.
fucking awesome. Find your zone, find your zone, find your zen, find it. Just have fun. Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
definitely need it. All right. Well, I just want to thank you again for being on the stream. And um, to everyone who's watching, we try to do these every Wednesday. Uh, the format right now is every other Wednesday we have a special guest like Iceman this week, and then the on the other weeks we just have the Hacker House team and friends just hanging out, talking about the news and just shooting the shit. So yeah, follow us and subscribe. We do this every week. And make sure you check out Iceman's YouTube channel and Discord, and send him a message and make sure he writes that book. And if you're going to be here in Utah at the end of the month, check out all the stuff he's doing at SaintCon. Iceman, you're a legend. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and
And
see you at SaintCon.
heck yeah. And Nick, thanks for joining us.
I'm happy to be here.